Oh, this is Xavier.
This is Sylvester.
And this is Mononeon. And you're listening to Purple Music Podcast.
Bienvenidos a Purple Music, el primer podcast en español sobre Prince, su música, su arte y su legado.
This is the dawning of a new podcast revolution.
It's time to get funky.
Damas y caballeros, welcome to Purple Music, the one and only podcast about Prince in Spanish language, created for and by Prince's music lovers. My name is Shakadelica, and I welcome you on behalf of my podmates Cyber and Starchild. We usually publish our programs in Spanish because we live in Spain. But since we have something we believe some of you may consider interesting, we have decided to publish this episode in English. On November the 1st in Madrid, we had the chance to attend to a terrific and super funky gig of one of the funkiest bands nowadays, Ghost Note. Ghost Note is a band created by musicians Nate Werth and Sput Seawrigt from Snarky Puppy, and they have already published 2 albums, 45 in 2015 and Swagism in 2018. The band is a kind of collective where there is room for great contemporary musicians from jazz, funky or hip-hop backgrounds. Apart from Nate Werth and Sput on the percussion, the band which performed in Madrid was composed by Peter Nathan on guitar, Jonathan Mons on sax, Xavier Taplin on keys, Sylvester Onyejiaka on sax, and Mononeon on the bass. These last 3 had the opportunity to collaborate with Prince during his last years of career. We had lots of fun there because the concert was really amazing, but also because we had the chance of interviewing Xavier, Sylvester and Mononeon. We spent around half an hour chatting with them about their work and, of course, about Prince. The 3 of them were very kind and very generous to us, and we had a great time together. So, we want to share the interview with you. We hope you enjoyed as much as we did, and please remember to follow us in Facebook and Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, in exclusive for Purple Music Podcast, Xavier Taplin, Onyejiaka and Mononeon. First of all, thank you for agreeing on doing this interview for Purple Music Podcast. It's a real pleasure to have the chance of chatting with you. And we think you are the funkiest band touring the world nowadays.
Thank you.
Your music reminds us to some of our musical heroes, such as Fela Kuti, J. Dilla, Roy Hargrove, and of course Prince. How would you describe the sound of Ghost Note?
That's a pretty good description. Yeah, good. We try to use influences from, drawn from people like that, Prince and Roy, and that's a really good blend of inspiration that you came up with.
That's pretty much it. It started as a drum band, and then gradually, just as more of us got incorporated, we were just like, wait, we're a funk band. Yeah. We should play funk music. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I told you, our podcast is devoted to the work of Prince. So we would like you to give us your impressions about working with such a musical genius.
Sure.
How and when did Prince contact each of you?
I was, I guess, slightly before Xavier, and then he came right after I left. Mm-hmm. But I was working with Philip Lassiter, who's a trumpet player, and we were doing gospel recordings, and we had posted a video online, and at the time he was looking for a big horn section, and so Andrew Goucher, who was his bass player at the time, he reached out to Phil and was like, I need a horn section. Phil called me, he's like, oh, I got some news, but you have to come over, I gotta tell you in person. And I went over there, he's like, Prince called, and I was like, no way. But it was like this audition process for like 3 months, and like we thought we had the gig, we thought we didn't have the gig, we didn't know what was really happening, and then one day he's just like, check your email, and then there was a plane ticket in the email, and I left the next day.
Wow.
So it was, yeah, that was it. It was a whirlwind, the whole experience from beginning to end. So it's wonderful.
For me, I came in 2013. I was just kind of playing around town in Los Angeles. I had just moved to Los Angeles, and I got to know Andrew Boucher as well, and I was playing in his band in Los Angeles. And so the way he explains it is that Prince asked him, do you know any people keyboardists who can, really play organ and solo well or whatever? And Andrew was like, yeah, I think I got the guy for you. And he hit me up. He's like, hey, man, if you get a call from an unknown number or a private number, just pick it up, And then just pick it up. And so it happened. I got a call. I think the number said like 1 or something. It was weird. It said 1. And so I picked it up. And it was Prince, and he was like, is this Xavier? And I said, yes. Well, at first he was calling me Dominique by my first name. And so I was like, yeah. And then he's like, how would you like to come out to Minnesota and jam with me? And I was like, man, that'd mean the world to me. And so he flew me out like the next day, and I was there, and this is when John Blackwell had first came back to the band. Well, I think this was the second time coming back to the band. But he was back, and Prince was on bass, John Blackwell was on drums, and he had a little keyboard rig for me. And they started up 777-9311, and we jammed on that probably for a good 25 minutes straight, like the same song. And at some point in the song, Prince gestured for me to solo. And so I soloed for what felt like an eternity. And, being a young guy, I tried to be like, all right, well, let me just do a little bit. I don't want to come in and just try to do too much on the song. 'Cause, I'm pretty sure that's a sure way out. So I think he could feel that I was doing that. And so he kept telling me to keep going because he wanted to see my range. And probably about 8 minutes in. 8 minutes is a long time. Probably about 8 minutes in, I'm starting to be like, okay, I'm about to start repeating licks because I'm running out. So Prince stops the groove, and he walks over to me, and he stands uncomfortably close to me and stares at me for probably about 20-something seconds, which felt like forever again. And then, he's like right here, just staring at me, and I'm just like, damn, I really messed this up. He's gonna send me home. And then he hugged me, and he was like, "Oh, we're gonna do amazing things," and then walked off and sent me home, and then called me back probably like a couple weeks later, and I started doing session stuff for him and playing on his record and Judith Hill's record, who he was producing, and I did a couple shows with him, and it was awesome.
2015, that's when I started working at Paisley with him. I started working with, me and Dominique used to work with Prince. Yeah.
Okay. And which are your memories of your first meeting with him?
Just jamming at Paisley Park, that's all.
And that's it, okay.
Yep.
And the next thing we'd like to know is when you first met him and you started working together, the thing is, did Prince already know what kind of sound you wanted to get, or did he give you accurate indications?
Yeah.
Or maybe it was more like with the process to
Well, sorry, I'm turning off. Yes to all of that. It's
a mixture, right?
Yeah, he would have times where he would know exactly how I wanted to go, and he was the type of person. Let me take that back. He didn't always know how he wanted to go, but he knew how I didn't need to go. And so sometimes it was just kind of like, you throw your part out there, or you throw something out there. Like, and of course I'm talking about when you're playing something new, not a song that he's already recorded in the past, but playing something new, you play something, and he would always tell us the right notes are in the air. You just have to find them. And the song is already there. It's already composed. It's already made. You just have to find the right notes. And so, I would say it's kind of a blend between him trusting the people that he have on board, but he definitely knew exactly what he wanted, most of the time. He might not always have been able to articulate that in like a conventional sense, like yelling out chord changes or anything like that, but he could show you, what I mean, because he could play everything, and he would get the right people who could articulate his point across. So at least that's what he did during my tenure.
Yeah, I agree with everything that Xavier said. What blew my mind is when we got, I had heard all these myths that he played everything, but then I got there and I actually saw that he did play everything. And so I think the second or third day, we were there and we had spent all this time. We went out for a month the first time, and most of the time was spent just transcribing his songs and arranging it for 11 horn players. But then I remember one day he came in, he's like, all right, let me hear what you worked on. And we had been working like 12 hours a day nonstop. And then he heard it, he's like, okay, cool. All right, take this part from this song and take this part from this song, put it together. And he would just arrange 11-part harmony just like on the spot without writing anything down. And he knew exactly what he wanted. And he would give us things to listen to that he wanted us to play, that he was like, this is the vibe, this is what I'm going for. I want us to be like a modern day like orchestra.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I guess the way you two had to work with him should be different because he knew how to play keyboards but didn't play any kind of horn. So.
Oh yeah.
He always was really nice to. He was really nice to the horns, because he didn't read music, and so he was very proud that his horn section read music, and so he would always kind of be like, see, like the horns, you should make sure to write it down like the horns. And so we were kind of like, we were still in the honeymoon phase, I guess. But yeah.
At the time Prince contacted you, he was playing with different bands and different sounds. And it seems that you were a part of his more jazzy side. How was the NPG quartet created?
It was random. Prince wanted to do a show at Paisley Park, and he was like, "You guys are a jazz band now, MPGQ," and he had us write. We came in and rehearsed probably for about a week. We spent about 4 days just writing songs, like, from scratch. And, just some people already had ideas that, Goucher had some ideas, John Blackwell had some ideas and stuff from his record that he had did. Marcus Anderson had some ideas, and then I just kind of filled in the cracks, just being a new guy and, put in different sections and tried to do that. But no, it was really random. We had that. They did that AOL show or whatever, or at
presentation for his
and Kendrick Lamar was there, whatever, at Paisley Park, and we ended up opening for that on the other side, and as MPGQ. So it was just out of nowhere. It was just an idea he just had, and he put some people together and made it happen. And he would come in every day at the end of the day and say, like, all right, play for me what you guys been working on, and we do it. And he'd say, have different pointers and say, well, what if you do this and do that and do this? But for the bulk of it, we wrote all of that stuff, and he arranged it all, but we wrote it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. From those MPG quartet sessions, 2 songs, Look at Me, Look at You, and Revelation, finally took part of Prince's hit and run Phase 2 album. First of all, let me congratulate you, because the way you play the electric piano is a true revelation.
Thanks.
So full, fantastic. Yeah. Is that a Wurlitzer piano what you play?
No, it's a Wurlitzer. No, it was not a real one.
It's a keyboard.
No, I wish I could say that it was, but... And I was supposed to come back and play it on a real one, but it just never happened, and I think he ended up just taking he's like, well, it's the part, so...
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Were these 2 songs planned to be on his album from the very beginning?
No one knows what he plans. So that I have no idea if the songs were going to make the record in the beginning, because he, as everyone knows, he was the king of just switching up last minute and doing something totally unexpected. So he had us guessing just as much as he had the fans guessing. Yeah.
Did you record your parts aside, or were they live takes with all the band?
They were live takes. We all played together. Yeah, in the I think it was B room. Is it the B room with the drums, and where you have the horn room behind that glass sliding door?
Yeah.
Is that the B room?
I just assumed it was all part of the A room.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, I think. Well, anyways, we were all in the same room when we did it. You all looking, facing each other, and Prince was in the control room, in our ears, and so yeah.
These two songs, Look at Me and Look at Your Revelation, have a very organic sound, and we think they much define the Hit and Run Phase 2 sound.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that these two songs provoked on Prince the idea of getting an album with such a sound, or were they added later?
I think that's just where he was at mentally, because if you listen to Judith Hill's Back in Time record, it's very similar sonic quality to it, and so I think that's just kind of the mode he was in. You know, that whole reinventing the vintage way of recording. And so, yeah, I think that was just his way of recording. Yeah, and so...
did you record other songs for that album? Could you give us some details?
I don't know. He didn't have titles for the songs when we were recording them. And so we recorded a lot. Like, we were recording probably about 4 to 5 songs a day. And we did that for a nice period of time. So I have no idea. I didn't even know Look at You made the record until everyone else told me. And because of the amount of stuff that we were recording, he just kind of took stuff and put it in different places. Mm-hmm. And that's just how he was.
Okay. Well, Sly, in Hit and Run Phase 2, there are 2 different horn sections. Mm-hmm. We think this is because some of the songs were from previous years. Mm-hmm. But did you know from the very beginning that your songs would be part of the album?
Not at all.
The same.
Because it was just like summer camp. We would go there and we would just be there for like a month at a time, all day, every day. And then one day we were working on some things. And then he's like, okay, today we're going to rehearse in the studio. And we're rehearsing. And we rehearsed there for a couple of days. And then like I looked up and he's sitting behind the board. And I realized, I'm like, oh, we're recording right now. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And I was like, oh, we're recording with Prince. We're making a Prince record right now. I was like, damn, that's crazy. And we did a handful of songs, but and then we didn't even know if they were going to come out. And then I looked up.
Did you play on Gold Standard? It's like a long horn thing at the end of it, and it sounds like an 11-piece horn section.
Probably. There was so much stuff like I didn't even know half of it. He was just like, okay, play this now. All right, play this. All right, let's try. So.
The song Shades of Amber.
Oh wow! Yeah,
I love that song.
Yeah,
it's a masterpiece.
We had the pleasure of being in Montreal
Jazz Festival.
Oh yeah.
We saw you.
And we love it. Could you give us some details about this song? Is it Prince song? Is it a Prince song?
Yeah. It's a Prince composition. Yeah. He wrote everything that we play.
Is there a studio version of that song, or it's all alive?
There is a studio version. There's one that the Hornheads did, which was his horn section for most of his career. And then there's one that we did. And then, but I don't know where they are.
Okay. One of our programs was dedicated to the festival, to Montreux, and we all agreed on highlighting your role, the horn section, on those concerts, because the arrangements were amazing. And we wanted to know who created those arrangements. Was it Prince or was it you, as a collective, I mean?
It's like a mixture. Prince was always steering the ship and would always be like, yes, or change this. We had a horn arranger, Phil Blassiter. He was the main guy that would write all of our arrangements. And then I guess a couple of the guys would chime in, but the bulk of the work and those crazy solis and all that was all him. And then whatever feedback that he took from Prince. But yeah.
On these concerts, the band sounded real fine, very solid and strong. It looked like there had been lots of rehearsals before playing live.
Yeah.
Lots, right?
We had Montreal booked, and we knew it was in July, but we would be at Paisley all of December, 2 weeks in January, all of March, We rehearsed for like 4 months every single day just to play those 3 shows. And when we got there, I had 3 hours of music memorized. 3 hours of like very complex like horn parts, but like I never thought that would happen.
And still about the 3 of us, as I said before, we were there, and agreed that there were good vibes in the stage between Prince and the band. There was so much fun. How did you and Prince leave those concerts and the previous rehearsals in that sense? It was a funny move. Experience.
Oh, yeah. I guess, yeah, he would always keep people guessing. So we would do a show, and then after the show, usually there was an after party. Occasionally there wouldn't be. But then we finished the first show. We were all excited. We did it. It went well. And then he's like, okay, we're going to go see Larry Graham now. And so then after playing for 3 or 4 hours, we go see Larry Graham. And then, okay, now we're all going to go sit in with Larry Graham. And we play with Larry Graham until 4 or 5 in the morning. Yeah. We wake up the next day, we're tired, but we're like, man, last night was amazing. We were jamming with Larry Graham and Prince on stage and like soloing and dancing. And then the next night we played again and went well. And then he's like, all right, we're going to after party. But the after party was just the band hanging out. And then we were like, we had this lounge reserved, and then like a couple other, like Larry Graham's band came and some other people, and we just jammed and goofed off. I was playing bass, Prince was playing drums, and I don't play bass, and so he just looks at me and was laughing. But like, yeah, it was a good. I mean, we were just hanging out with each other all the time.
Regarding the project Black is the New Black.
Yep.
Was it something that Prince had in mind before he met you, or was he emerging little by little while working together?
It was before his last tour, the piano microphone tour. And we were just recording. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but yeah, we were just recording songs. And he told me and Adrian he's going to release it and call it Black is the New Black or something. Yep.
Do you describe both the sound and the concept of Black is the New Black?
Similar to Madhouse stuff. Yep.
We know some of the titles that will have been included in the album, which are Soul Patch, Black is the New Black, and Rough Enough.
Yep.
Could you reveal us other titles included in the project?
I don't know. I mean, the only song he released when he was here was Rough Enough.
Yeah.
And
no other titles.
I don't remember what we recorded. Shit. But yeah.
Okay.
You have said that the album was finished and ready to be published.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the basic tracking of it. So I'm not sure what he did after we left, but I don't know if it was finished. It sounded like it was finished, but I don't know. I don't know what Prince was doing. But he was excited, though, for some reason.
Was he?
Yep.
Do you plan to come to Spain to promote your new album?
I would love to, if y'all paying. Y'all got some money.
By the way, it's for the 3 of you. What would you highlight about working with Prince and the time you spent at Crazy Park?
I honestly just having a chance to be close to a person of that level of success, but that he was still down to earth, you know what I mean, and still approachable, and he didn't try to make us feel uncomfortable when he was around us. The most uncomfortable we would feel is when we would just be in limbo, not knowing what's the next move, or if we're gonna go out, or we're gonna rehearse, or we're gonna perform, we're gonna record. That was probably the only uncomfortableness about it, but I'd say the best part about it was just his presence taught you something every time he was in the room. It taught you something in a way, like how you should handle certain situations, you know, on your climb as a artist, musician, or whatever. Not saying you got to be like him or try to strive to be like him. It's either it will teach you, you know, directly or indirectly, like, okay, you know, just how he would deal with companies and deal with, you know, venue people and backline people, and just, you know, he had a way of demanding respect without having to say it, you know, and so that was my favorite part about it.
Snarky?
being able to be that close to greatness. Yeah, I had a friend, it was a mentor, he just said that like once you go on the other side and you see what it's like on the other side, you can never really go back. And like being able to see it operate at such a high level and him be in such command of every aspect of his enterprise, whether it was like, I mean, nobody's job was safe. If you weren't doing the sound right, he would come down and he would do the sound. If you were playing the bass wrong, he'd be like, all right, give me your bass. Let me show you how I want you to do it. And just being able to see what's involved, like, and what it really takes to be that good.
Being in the studio with him, that was fun. Yep.
What is your favorite Prince song?
It's not so easy.
The one that that's undeniable for me, and I can never listen to it enough, would probably be "Sexy Dancer." I can listen to that any day, you know, just because of the composition is it's enticing. Yeah.
There's so many. We'll say Purple Music.
Purple Music.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess Stare.
Stare.
I used to play that a lot with him. So.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Well, we hope you have enjoyed the interview. Thank you all for being there. And remember, you can follow us in Twitter and Facebook, and you can listen to our podcast in iVoox and iTunes. Stay tuned, stay funky.